elephant in the room, what a lot of Western climate diplomats tell me is that leaders like yourself also carry a responsibility. Why are vulnerable countries still so debt-stricken? Why is there still corruption? What is your response to that?
You really want me to answer you?
I do.
Okay. Why is it that every time we talk about countries from the south, the first allegation is corruption?
Hello guys, how are you? I'm hoping that you're doing well wherever you're watching me from. I'm your presenter today, and I just came across a very interesting video, and it's of Motley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, and I just love the way he confronted these journalists because of branding Jamaica as a very fierce and insecure country full of corruption. And I could see fire in her eyes. She was not that that happy with this branding, because he knows Jamaica so well. It cannot be given such bad names, stereotypes, yet he's there watching. And so I just want us to watch the video, and later on let's gather here, let's talk about it, let's share our views in the comment section. I'm going to share my commentary later on after this clip, and please make sure that you watch it up to the very end so that you can also hear from my perspective. You can also learn from you as I also learn from your side. Please feel free to share your comments, and if not yet subscribed, if this is your first time in this platform, thank you so much for choosing us, and I'm very sure that you're going to enjoy your time here. And please don't leave without subscribing. Please subscribe, give us a like, share our content. It's very simple, just tapping those buttons, the like button, the subscription button, and you've already supported us. We are going to greatly appreciate. But for now, let's rock in and see what we can learn from this clip.
The elephant in the room, what a lot of Western climate diplomats tell me is that leaders like yourself also carry a responsibility. Why are vulnerable countries still so debt-stricken? Why is there still corruption? What is your response to that?
You really want me to answer you?
I do.
Okay. Why is it that every time we talk about countries from the south, the first allegation is corruption? Last time I checked, in the USA and the UK and Europe, they're riddled with corruption, but nobody says that they're not capable of achieving their objectives because of corruption. Why is it that we're not talking about the fact that these countries became independent, having allowed those countries that colonized them to extract significant portions of their wealth, such that we had no proper housing, no proper education, no proper healthcare systems, no proper legal systems, no proper across the whole stream, and certainly nothing to do with building social capital like community development and cultural enterprises. And what has happened is therefore that we have spent the time since independence trying to give our people what the global north has taken for granted and has supported by the extrication of centuries of wealth to give their people out of our blood, sweat and tears. Now, when our blood, sweat and tears finances the Industrial Revolution, and the Industrial Revolution then causes the climate crisis, and then I have to pay for the consequences of the climate crisis because of the Industrial Revolution financed by our blood, sweat and tears, then I think they have no moral authority to tell me anything about the financing of the climate or about why we don't have enough.
Is it anger over this that fuels your energy?
Anger? Absolutely not. Unfairness, lack of justice. They're not angry. I'm just disappointed that humankind still wants to believe that there's one world for a set of people and another world for another.
Hey, I'm hoping that you've watched the whole clip and you've taken your analysis. And here I am together with Mia Motley, because that moment deserves a fierce and uncompromising reaction. What she did there matters, because she did just defend a region's dignity. She exposed a pattern of selective outrage, a pattern of moral double standards that lets very real financial crimes go unremarked. And watching a leader like Mia Motley stand firm in the face of condensation in powerful precisely because it flips the script. Instead of accepting the narrow frame, we are the wholesome judge here. She forces the conversation outward. Who benefits from the instability and who profits from that instability? Who profits when countries are too weak to defend themselves? Definitely, you all know who gets the benefits. And without also forgetting, all these matters are also happening in those given countries. If you go to Western countries, crime is there like a lifestyle. There are those states that you cannot go just because of crime. The crime rate is very high. Corruption, we cannot speak of Africa's or Caribbean's corruption without mentioning the corruption that is taking place in the Western nations. In fact, maybe the ones there are very developed, are having suits there. The corruption there is having an office. But see what they always do. They brand the black nations as corrupt, and they can never do anything because of corruption, because of insecurity in their countries. But they forget to name their nations. They are always speaking about Africa. They are always speaking about Caribbean. They're always speaking about these black nations. And they forget to mention their countries. They want to show us that their countries are too well, the countries are doing well, the countries are just okay. Well, while that's the opposite of what they are saying. But when it comes to matters to do with black nations, they're all out here, very loud, very clear, pointing these nations. Let us be honest, man. All this stuff happen everywhere. And so let us not say that it's only in Africa, it's only in Jamaica, but it is a global threat. It's an effect that is taking place everywhere. Because that journalist one-line dismissal, corrupt and insecure, is the kind of shorthand that erases context. It simplifies complex legacies into moral failings of individuals and closes off any discussions of bigger flows of capital, corporate behavior and geopolitical policy that have created and sustained those structural problems. And to start with here, we have the oldest financial crime, the theft of labor and resources through slavery and colonial extraction. Centuries of unpaid labor, coerced resources transfer, and imperial plunder created the initial capital imbalance that still shaped the global economy and also the one in these black nations. So that history isn't metaphor. It's an accounting problem that shows up in contemporary inequality. We also have colonial era extraction. Didn't just empty vaults. It built institutions of advantage shipping routes, corporate structures and financial practices that later evolved into legal systems of tax avoidance, corporate secrecy, and credit relationships that still disadvantage the global south. And let us also not forget about the debts, because debt is a form of financial control. If you look at many Caribbean and African countries, have been pushed into cycles of borrowing and restructuring where debt servicing eats public budgets. You hear every financial year we are having a different financial bill, and that bill, if you look at it, some of the 60% of the resources that will be generated there, it will be used to pay those debts. Because when money lives in debt payments, that's public wealth that is transferred outward exactly. And I can say that's the kind of extraction that critics never call corruption when it's performed by these lenders, because you will find that some of these debts, they have high interest, and these countries are working so tirelessly just to pay them, not to develop their countries, but to pay those debts. Let us be honest with ourselves here and also point out the truth, point out the wrong and the good. Let us not take sides here. And truth be told, guys, media framing is complicit. Western outlets often report instability as if it's endogenous, their problem, while omitting how external lenders, corporations, or shadow finances contributed to collapse. And that selective blindness comforts powerful actors and policies narrative rather than the truth itself. So the moral outrage the journalists showed toward petty corruption should be matched by equal outrage toward the structural and transitional financial wrongdoing, the likes of debt imposition, tax avoidance, illicit flows, and environmental externalities, and you can name the list can go on. Naming small time graft while ignoring this large-scale transfer is what I can call, or what theologians call, hypocrisy. So that's why me and Motley pushback matters. It's not denial of local problems. I can say it is the refusal to accept an incomplete conversation. Because to properly address the insecurity and corruption, you must also address the upstream financial crimes, the hidden networks of money, and the unfair laws and the legal structural instruments that keep the wealth flowing outward and not inward. That's a form of corruption that has just worn a suit. It's a form of corruption that is having an office. It's also having servants. So guys, if you come away from the clip with a single conviction, let it be this: calling out a nation as a corrupt and insecure without acknowledging the global economic mechanics that create and exploit that insecurity is intellectual malpractice. And true accountability must include transparency. It must include asset return. It must include debt justice, clampdowns on secrecy, and also reparative policies that address centuries of extraction. So guys, stand with the leaders who force that wider conversation, amplify it, demand the records, and push for systemic remedies rather than comfortable condemnations. This is what I can say for now, but let me also know from your side, what is your perspective concerning this particular one? Let us know from your thoughts. And at the end of the day, we are going to learn from you you're also going to learn from different people. So feel free to share your comments in the comment section. I've been your presenter, Shadrach, and I'm grateful for you being here. Thank you so much for our returning subscribers, our new subscribers. Thank you so much. And I'm hoping to see you in the next video. But until then, please keep safe and stand with a brother, stand with a sister. This is the least that we can do for each other. You know, humanity should be our religion. Goodbye, my people.